Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Starting the Day the Way 5 minute devotion for November 8th, 2020. All right, so funny story with my guy, right? So today was Sunday, and the way we are set up for school right now is he has 2 days in school, 3 days home. So basically, he has a 5-day weekend, is what he calls it, and then the 2 days in school. So he had a little downtime today and watched a little bit more TV than he probably should have watched. So I'm like, hey, buddy, how about you maybe do an assignment for tomorrow? This way you don't have to worry about it tomorrow and you'll have more free time. So he goes, Daddy, God said we should rest on Sundays. So I don't think I'm going to do any more work. So I was like, oh my gosh. I told my wife and we started cracking up. And we're like, well, is that a good thing that we're parenting well? Or is that a bad thing that my son is a wise guy already at 8 years old? I don't know. But anyway, it led me to Proverbs 2. And the book of Proverbs is an incredible, incredible book. And I've been reading a proverb a day probably for about a year and a half to 2 years right now. And it has made all the difference in the world in my personal life. And I in my prayer time, I'm like, God, I just want to go deeper with you. I want to know more. And this is what I felt him led. One of the things is to read a proverb a day. There's 31 proverbs in the book of Proverbs. And so you pick out a proverb a day. Now, even though today is the 8th, I found myself in Proverbs 2. And in the NIV, the headline of it, the headline of it is called Moral Benefits of Wisdom. Okay, depending upon which version you're reading, it may have a different title there. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can do that on your own because there is some awesome, awesome, awesome stuff in here. But just a couple of highlights. Okay, it starts off by saying, "My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding." Okay, I think that's an incredible, incredible opening. That just is telling us how important wisdom is. Okay, verse 4 says, "If you look for it as silver and search for it as hidden treasure." Now, I don't know about you, if you ever come across treasure, gold, silver, whatever, but if I lose something like a set of keys, which happens more often than I like to admit, I am backtracking, I am lifting books, I'm lifting pillows, I'm upstairs, I'm downstairs, I'm outside. And because I need my keys, my car will not start until I get my keys, right? So the Bible is telling us to search for wisdom like this, right? That much, okay? Where else did that God pointed out to me? Verse 12 says, "Wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men, from men whose words are perverse, who have left the straight paths to walk in dark ways, who delight in doing wrong and rejoice in the perverseness of evil." Okay, now I can remember my high school days, my middle school days, and the peer pressure was incredible. Guess what? As an adult, it hasn't gotten any easier, right? So I have really had to grow in my identity in who I am and have security in who I am and how God views me in order to speak and act in a proper way within my sphere of influence and within my immediate family, within my immediate realm of friends and acquaintances. And if I had not done that, I would be probably following people in going down the wrong road, right? I often tell my students, tell me who you are, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you where you're going to be in 5 years. And they never believe me until they come back in 5 years and they tell you, Mr. Cagney, you were absolutely right. I shouldn't be hanging out with those people. I said, I know. And I said, I only know that because of my experiences, right? At a certain point in time, we all have to become our own person with our own beliefs. Who are you believing? Who are you listening to? I'm choosing to be followed by Jesus, followed by his word. So that's why I'm digging in through his word, right? Um, Verse 16 goes on, wisdom will save you from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman, and her seductive words. Okay, that can go both ways, men or women. Okay, it will save you because you will have the wisdom from the throne room of God. Okay, this is the wisdom that it's talking about, not earthly wisdom, not book wisdom, not experiential wisdom. Wisdom straight from the throne room of God. Wisdom that enabled Solomon to say, okay, split that baby in half. I don't even know that Solomon at that time knew what he was suggesting and if he knew what was going to come about from it, but he felt the wisdom of God and he said that was the suggestion. And only after it occurred did he see how each woman reacted and said, no, this one is the real woman, the real mother of the baby. Only the real mother of a baby wouldn't want a baby to be cut in half, right? Seems kind of obvious, but not at that time, right? So, but this is where wisdom came from. Solomon was said to be the wisest man in the Bible, okay? And then it finishes up. Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the path of the righteous. For the upright will live in the land and the blameless will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the land and the unfaithful will be torn from it. Okay. Now that's some very serious words for the wicked and the unfaithful. Okay. I constantly need to examine myself, the condition of my heart. How am I viewing a certain circumstance? Am I viewing it from God's eyes? I did a devotion a couple of days back on viewing things from God's point of view and from his perspective and not our earthly perspective. Very, very important, okay? Because God's perspective on the matter is what we should be viewing things upon. Okay, so there's so much in this one proverb, and 5 or 6 minutes, 7 minutes can't do it justice, but dig into it in your own time. Okay, hope it was a blessing. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow. God bless.